Hey kids, Mr. Flyer here, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel for another bike review, and as you will have seen from the thumbnail, today I'm riding the brand new 2024 Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus. Okay folks, welcome to Great Bissenden on this beautiful sunny July summer's day. Perfect day to be out testing a motorcycle. 21 degrees centigrade. Doesn't get any better, does it? Just perfect. Anyway, to the Tracer 9 GT Plus then. Last time I rode a Tracer 9 was about 3 years ago, and I very much liked the bike. It's one of those machines, fits in the sport touring category, and if like me you never go off-road, but you do like touring, it makes absolute sense, this sort of bike. It might be something that potentially, you know, could replace, say, my GS in the future, so that's why I'm really interested to ride this bike and get to know it a little bit. So the bike I rode last time I really liked. It was nice and agile. It's got this brilliant CP3 triple cylinder motor out of the MT-09, which is an absolutely stunning unit. But there are a couple of things I didn't like about it. One of which was the screen that it had. Do you remember it had that sort of split screen affair where it had kind of two TFT displays? It looked like some sort of cartoon character looking at you. I don't think anybody liked it. So Yamaha listened. They've now given us this stonking great 7-inch TFT, which is a huge improvement. And then alongside that, on this GT Plus model, they've also given us some more fancy electronics. Most notably for me, it now has radar cruise control, which is something I absolutely love. It's one of those things that people say, oh, well, people used to say, why do you need cruise control, don't they? But now they say, why do you need radar cruise control? Well, you don't need it, of course, but once you've tried it, it's one of those things you think, well, I never knew I needed it, but actually it's brilliant. So it's got that. I think I'm right in saying it's the first Yamaha to have that as well. And not only does it use it for cruise control purposes, but it uses it for some clever work with the brakes, of which we'll talk more about later. So some definite improvements on the bike. Another big improvement is the colour scheme on this one. It looks absolutely brilliant. So before we talk more about how the bike rides, let me just show you over the bike. So here she is then, the Tracer 9 GT in all her glory, and this is that colour that I was talking about. Let me just show you the paint on here. I think it's lovely, this grey and black with the sort of copper coloured line that matches the forks, I think looks absolutely lovely. I don't usually like this sort of grey, but they've done a really nice job on this. One of the things I think Yamaha do great is paint. I mean, this is just super lustrous and really looks lovely in the sunshine. So yeah, nice job on the paint job. A few other things that have changed are, so for example, if we come around the front, you can see where they've now put that radar module. Look, it's hidden away here. It doesn't look too obtrusive at all. I think that's all right, actually, how they've done that. It's a bit of an unusual looking bike. I'm struggle a little bit with the looks. I think it would be better if it had a little beak or a mudguard underneath that radar, but I don't dislike it either. It's sort of growing on me, and it's such a nice bike to ride. You can kind of forgive it some of those looks deficiencies. What else has changed? Something notably is the seat's been resculpted. We'll talk more about the comfort of that later, but it certainly looks lovely now, doesn't it? You can get a heated version of that as well if you buy the additional touring pack thing, which gives you a bigger screen as well and some other bits and pieces, but heated seats would be nice. I hate the underslung exhaust, which we see so much now on Euro 5 bikes, of course. Something else that actually I'm not too keen, if I turn it on, if we come around the front, you can see that you've got these daytime running lights that look lovely, but when the engine's running you only get one of these lights on, and I just think that looks a bit naff. But yeah, if it had both lights on it would be fine, but that's just a small point, but just something that winds me up slightly. Okay, let's just kill the ignition again. I don't want to run the battery flat. Let me show you that TFT. We'll talk more about that later, but it's massive, look, and it's got everything you need. The fonts on it are a little bit, I don't know, Americanized for my liking. I think it's a little bit busy looking. There are different versions of it you can look at, but really that just changes the way that dial looks. It doesn't fundamentally change it. So yeah, not sure the layout is brilliant, but it's a much nicer screen than the outgoing one, of course. What else to tell you about the bike or to show you? Don't think there's anything else much to point out. I do like that seat. I love the paint scheme, and yeah, interesting looking. Let's leave it at that. Alright, so much for how she looks then. Let's just jump back on and ride her some more. Okay, welcome back aboard the new Tracer 9 GT, now with a Plus, and I can tell you straight off the bat in terms of how it rides, I really like it. It's a comfortable place to be. They've changed the seat and they've sort of sculpted it a bit differently, and as you saw, it looks a bit different, and it's definitely an improvement on the old one, but I must say it's still quite hard. Now, this isn't actually my first ride on this bike. I took it out, I couldn't wait to have a go on it, so I took it out yesterday in slightly scuddier weather. I did about an hour's ride, and I thought the seat was going to be a problem, but I didn't actually have a problem after an hour on it. But it does feel a little bit hard to the old buttocks, but it wouldn't put me off the bike at all. As I say, after an hour's ride I was absolutely fine. The handlebars, nice and wide, good leverage. Your legs are tucked up in quite a sporty position. The bike really is very much more of the sports rather than tourer. It just feels really agile, and the engine just gives it a bit of perk that I absolutely love. Also comes with an up and down quick shifter, which just encourages you to ride a bit more swiftly, doesn't it? But yeah, but from a comfort point of view, yeah, the seat is still hard. It's improved on the previous version of the bike, but overall it's a comfortable place to be. I'm sat upright, it's nice. The only other thing about the comfort, I suppose, or on that subject, is this screen. Although it looks quite big, it's not actually that effective, I don't find. This is in its low position at the moment. You can adjust it easily one-handed. Look, if I go into the upper position, it doesn't move by much, probably about 7 or 8 centimetres, and moving it doesn't make a hell of a difference. I prefer it down because I like to look over the windscreen rather than through it. But that does throw a bit of turbulence into my sort of top of my helmet on faster roads, which is a shame. I'm sure there are aftermarket solutions. In fact, I know if you buy their Tour Pack or whatever it's called, it comes with a bigger screen, which looks a bit ridiculous, but I'm sure is more effective than this one. So if that's important to you, you can get the bigger screen. I actually quite like looking over this one though. Okay, quick blap on some dual carriageway to see what this screen is like on these faster roads. Here I'm doing 70 miles an hour ish with the screen in its uppermost position. I have to say, actually, I haven't got a lot of wind on my face. The wind only really starts in its uppermost position at these speeds above my helmet, so it's perfectly good in the uppermost position. I have got a little bit of wind around my shoulders and midriff, weirdly, but actually it's doing a pretty good job at higher speeds. So take back what I said about the screen not being so good. Actually, when you are going faster, it's perfectly adequate, certainly in the upper position. Right, let's just try it at 70 in the lower position. Right, there we go, there's 70-ish, 70, yeah. And you might even be able to hear through the microphone a lot more noise is hitting my head, sort of just above the visor. I'm 5'8", so an average size fella, and yeah, that is really quite horrible in the low position. Bringing her up, yeah, that cures all that, much quieter, and no turbulence on my head. Yeah, the screen's alright, upper position for faster roads for sure. Really bumpy up that bit of road, it always is. Well, they've recently relayed this one, look, so this is a bit smoother. But the suspension eats up the bumps a treat. It now comes with this it's semi-automatic electronic suspension from KYB. Quite difficult to adjust, it turns out, but it does do a pretty good job of eating up these bumps. For my take, it is a little bit harder than I would like. There seems to be 2 settings on it. You can go into the riding modes and go into a custom mode. I'm in sport at the moment, but in custom you can adjust the suspension settings, but there seem to only be 2 settings, and I fiddled with them on my ride yesterday and it didn't seem to make an awful lot of difference. But I'm sure it's just probably I need to RTFM, and there's probably a way of adjusting those more than I've yet found. But yeah, out of the box, so to speak, the suspension is a little bit harder than I'd like, but I suppose that helps keep the bike a bit sporty. Talking of which, this is my sportier handling road. Let's have a little razz down here. Quick shifter is lovely. Wow, this engine. It sounds great. And it goes great. Yeah, very much the emphasis on sport in sport touring on the Tracer 9. Marvellous. Yeah, very confidence inspiring as far as the handling is concerned. That stiff suspension does help in that respect. Man, these brakes are good as well. What a hoot. Right, let's just wind her up a bit here. Got a clear run. fast. Yeah, it is a nuts bike if you want it to be, and that is the beauty of this. It's got kind of a dual character. You can ride it sensibly like a touring bike should be ridden, or you can absolutely thrash this brilliant CP3 motor and have loads of fun when you get into your destination. Such a good engine this. I loved it in the MT-09 and I love it in this. I think as a one-up tourer, I mean, I'm sure it's good too. I've not used it, tried it with a pillion, but if it was just you going away on tour, this would be a fantastic bike. Comfortable on the motorways. You can engage that radar cruise control, and then when you get to where you're going, you can absolutely chuck it about. It's brill. Alright, let's quickly whiz through the specs while I try and negotiate my way around this van. Okay, I say we'll whiz through the specs. There are actually quite a lot of specs to go through here, but anyway, let's crack on. So starting off then, the 890cc triple cylinder as found in the MT-09 puts out 119 PS at 10,000 RPM and 93 Newton meters of torque at 7,000 RPM. It's all you really need to know about this is that it's just a terrific engine. Brakes on the front are looked after by these twin 298mm discs. On the rear you've got this single 267mm disc, and this apparently is the first bike in the world to have radar linked unified braking system, which apparently automatically distributes braking force across the wheels. Clever stuff, eh? Suspension here on the front is this semi-active KYB stuff with 130mm of travel, and there you can see the adjuster for the rear suspension, which gives you 137mm of travel. Seat height on the bike is 820mm to 835, with this new, more comfy seat than the previous bike. I'm only 5'8", but I have to say I can get my feet flat down on the deck on this. It's got quite a nice narrow sort of step over width. The weight of the bike is actually 223 kilograms with full fuel, and I have to say it feels very light both when you're moving it around and when you're riding it. Tank capacity on the Tracer 9 is 19 litres. And then we come to electronics, which, well, there's so much here, too much to mention really. Yamaha claim it's their most advanced electronic support package ever seen on a Yamaha, and I don't doubt it. It basically has everything, including this 7-inch massive TFT, the radar adaptive cruise control, connectivity, though unfortunately you do need a subscription to Garmin if you want to use the connectivity on this. It's got quick shift, semi-auto active suspension, as I said, cornering lights, riding mode, slide control, lift control, basically everything. Check out the website for full details. Only things I think are missing electronics wise, which I would like to see, is blind spot monitoring on the mirrors, given it has got the radar, and also it would be nice to have a heated seat as standard. You can get that as part of what is actually called the Travel Pack Pro, but that's £2 extra. I probably would get that, because with that you not only get the heated seat but you get a bigger screen as well. According to the Yamaha website, the basic price of the bike is £15,016 at time of recording. I think that is excellent value given how well equipped this bike is. And last but not least, this bike comes in two colours. This is the Power Grey, which I think is the best of the colours, or there's the Icon Performance, which is that blue scheme they do that comes with the sort of black and silver and blue bits and the blue wheels, which also looks good, but I think I prefer this. Well, by the way, that £15 price I mentioned actually does include panniers. For some reason, Yamaha didn't give them to me on the press bike, but yeah, excellent value given it includes the panniers. Okay, welcome back aboard. I'm still stuck behind this white van. I'm hoping for a clear run so I can nip by them at some point. It ain't going to be there because there's another oncoming white van. Oh well. While we're stuck behind here then, let's have a little look at the handlebars and so on. One thing I'm not too keen on is the indicator switch. It's a bit stalky on here. I moaned about the newfangled indicator on the MT-09, which is that new rocker switch thing. Well, on here it's a bit sort of stalky. It works fine, it works conventionally, but it just looks a bit trumpery compared to the rest of the stuff here. That's your cruise control, very easy to operate. And you can vary the distance of which you sit behind the car in front by pressing this little button here. It changes the distance, which is great. So all very simple. And then to control everything on the TFT, you've got this little joystick here, which I thought was going to be fiddly, but actually is pretty good in gloved hands. You can whiz yourself through. If we look here, if I go like left and right, you see it brings up applications, SC, I'm not sure what that is, stability control. The grip warmer, so it's relatively easy to get heated grips, although it annoys me that you have to go through a menu at all, and all sorts of the different themes and all kinds of stuff in there. And then if you want to go back, you just hit the little back button there. I've been riding this predominantly in sport mode. It comes with rain, street and sport. I found rain just a bit too soft, and when you've sampled sport mode you don't really want to use street again, so and then of course there is the custom mode as well, so you can have the settings as you wish on that. So as I mentioned, all sorts of electronics on here, far too many to mention really, so check out the Yamaha website if you want to go through that, but You know, it does include things like anti-lift, this clever braking arrangement that uses the radar, and so on. So it really is a high-tech bike at the moment. And as I say, Yamaha claim it's their most electronically laden Yamaha to date, if that makes sense. Oh, look at this lovely view, great visibility today. Well, I have to say, I've really enjoyed my ride out on the Tracer 9 GT Plus today. Not often I extend these test rides just because I'm enjoying it so much, so that's a measure of the bike, isn't it? This here, look, typical English countryside village. This is Little Missenden, just a couple of miles from Great Missenden. How beautiful is this, look? Lots of little pubs, people enjoying a quick pint. Just absolutely lovely, quintessentially British. I do get people write to me in the comments and just say, from abroad, particularly the US actually, that say they like looking at some of this oldie English scenery, so I thought I'd just pop down here today to show you this. This is my favourite house in Little Missenden. How beautiful is that? How old is it, I wonder? Yeah, beautiful spot. Sometimes you don't realise how lucky you are to have the things that you have around you locally, do you? You've got to take them in occasionally. So things like electronics and all the rest of it are all kind of incidental, aren't they? At the end of the day, what are the fundamentals like on the bike? Does it give you a grin? Does it ride nicely? Well, hopefully you've already got a sense from this review that it absolutely does both those things. It's got a massive grin factor on this bike. It's like a sensible man's MT-09, if you like, but it's still got that MT-09 naughtiness in there if you want it. Yet it's all day rideable, just as a tour. You know, you can pood along. Look, I'm here in 4th at 30. Fueling's lovely, there's no jerkiness. It's absolutely lovely. It's a great bike, this. What's the bike like slow speed in traffic? Well, pretty good, I'd say. Not that I'm going particularly slow, but 28 miles an hour in second gear. It's not juddering around. It's not giving me terrible thumpy vibes. Considering it's you know, Euro strangled, it seems pretty good in traffic. I know this isn't the heaviest traffic in the world, but you know, you can get an idea of how the bike handles, can't you, even in traffic like this. Balance is nice. Look at walking speed. This would be great not only as an all-rounder but as a commuter. Okay folks, it's come to that time in my first ride review where we do the lugging about test, just to check out what it's like to move around, simulating what it'd be like to live with the bike in your garage, and also to check what the turning circle's like on this bike. I shall find my favourite parking space, which is up here with some like donut marks in it somewhere. Where is it? There it is. Stick it in the middle here. See what she's like. Right, finding neutral. Pretty easy. Side stand, very easy. Doesn't go over too far, which I like. There she is, as you can see. You've got a grab handle, something to get hold of. Actually, the more I look at this bike, the more I'm starting to like the looks of it, actually. Anyway, here we go. So off the side stand. Yeah, piece of cake. It feels light even at standstill, this bike, which is a real treat. So few do. Right, full lock. And it doesn't feel like it's a particularly tight lock, it has to be said. So round we go. And bring her to a halt. Just there. Okay, how's she done? So it was middle of that one, all the way around to sort of the outer edge of that. So that's quite a wide turning circle. Yeah, one of the wider bikes that I've done this test with. However, it is very light to pick it up off the stand, and that to me is a major plus of the Tracer 9. Very, very easy to live with. If you're a bit weak, a bit small, dare I say it, a lady, and I don't mean that in any bad way, but you know, somebody like myself with an injured shoulder, this bike, very, very easy to live with, nice and light, love it. Now, I posed that question at the start of the video. Is this the bike that could replace my GS? And I'll tell you what, I absolutely think it could. Given the way that GS has gone now, don't get me wrong, the new GS is a beautiful bike to ride. I just really struggle with the looks and also the pricing. It would be hard to justify buying one of those over one of these when you consider this pretty much has everything that that new GS has, with a massive cost saving. If you were to spec up that new GS with radar, cruise and everything else, panniers and so on, you'd be looking 23, 24 grand. If you get this, even with the additional packs that gives you things like the heated seat and the top box, then you're still only looking at sort of 17 grand-ish. I think it's excellent value. And for me, this is a much more fun bike. The handling on it is just brilliant. Quick shifter both up and down as standard, works nice and smoothly. Mirrors work well. And the brakes are flipping excellent. The rear one's a bit rubbish, but the front one is great. So I don't want to make this too gushing. What don't I like about the bike? Well, first off, as I mentioned, the looks are a bit strange. It's not ugly, but it's not attractive either. But it's certainly no more repulsive than the GS. It's certainly better than the GS Adventure, but that's another story. I think I could get used to the looks. But other than that, there's not really anything that I can say would put me off the bike. Seat may be a little bit hard, but even on longer runs, as I mentioned, I did an hour's run yesterday, that was fine. So overall for me, it's a thumbs up. Puts a big grin on your face, it's easy to move around, it's nice and light, it goes and stops well, it sounds nice, it's got more electronics than you can shake a stick at, and it's a good price. I think well done Yamaha. We need more triples on the market. It's just such a great configuration. So I loved the Tracer 9 GT when I rode it 3 years ago, and now in this GT Plus form I love it even more. The improvements they made on the electronics, the screen and so on are just definitely well worth having. It's a great all-rounder bike this. If you're only going to have one bike, then this is definitely worth considering. It can do everything and put a big grin on your face while it's doing it. So there we have it. That's my first ride review of the new Tracer 9 GT Plus. Hope you enjoyed that. Huge thanks to Yamaha for lending me the bike. Huge thanks to you for watching the video once again. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you've not done so already. And I look forward to speaking to you again next time. Until then, this has been the Mr. Dem Flyer. Cheerio. Okay. Oh, this engine is just superb. Up. Oh, what a hoot. There aren't too many touring bikes that you can have as much fun on as this, I tell you.